So I think since we have this Glasgow conference just around the corner, there wouldn't have been a better and a more appropriate timing for this panel discussion. And we all are currently grappling with the climate change issues. And the world is now taking this issue more seriously than ever before. There have been, of course, some interesting initiatives, incentives, taxations, and whenever possible, there are even penalties. You must have heard that, a few months back, a major petrochemical company was, penalized for around 32 million US dollars just as a carbon tax. So, you can appreciate the severity and the gravity of this problem. Of course, we are moving in the right directions. There have been some heavy fundings to cope up with this problem. There have been some technological innovations like the circular economy. We have biodegradable polymers such as PLA, PHA, and so on. But there is still a lot to be done. As regards our country, thanks to the sincere commitment shown by our government, we are also moving in the right direction. Currently, we are ranking third, only after China and the US when it comes to the global emissions. However, we have set some aggressive targets for ourselves to reduce the emissions by around 1/3 by 2030, and also rely more heavily on the non-fossil fuels for power generation. Now that we have understood the problem, let's see if we have some methodology to deal with this. So there is an interesting concept called as triple bottom line, which was introduced by John Elkington around 25 years back, and this essentially tries to integrate the three important aspects: profit, planet, and people. Traditionally the approach of the industry has been to focus only on one of the bottom lines, that is the profit. So how to increase the yield and the efficiency, what to produce, how to respond to the market, say for example, how to produce, what to produce, and how much to produce. So there is a lot of dependency and uncertainty around the raw material prices, the raw material availability, and of course the market demand also fluctuates. So there have been solutions in the market like APC, which is the advanced process control, and asset performance management, as Akshay was talking about in his previous discussion. But these means are not enough. There has to be something else to this. So when it comes to the people, we all understand that it is the operators who are running the plants, and the overall success of the operation depends solely upon the efficiency of the operator. So why not deploy some of the state-of-the-art solutions? Say for example, can we have AR VR kind of a thing that would enhance the visibility of the operator, or maybe some kind of a operator training simulators, what we call as OTS, to enhance the efficiency of the operator and bring some more insights of the process. Also, when it regards the safety of the operator, we might work around this problem by implementing some of these technologies like drone, which can potentially eliminate the direct exposure of these operators to the hazardous environment. When it comes to the planet aspect, yes, we have already talked about this circular economy, which is essentially recycle, reuse, and repurpose, then reduction of waste. There have been some interesting technologies like deployment of soft sensors, so we can possibly use these technologies for effective emission management. Then we might deploy some of these data analytics techniques for mapping the fugitive emissions, which are otherwise hard to detect, and then we can devise some processes which are more efficient and more suited for carbon capture and sequestration. So these are all the all the solutions that we have. But one thing is what we have to keep in mind is that we cannot target only profit in isolation. If we have to have a sustainable solution, we have to integrate all these three aspects, namely profit, people, and planet. And that brings us to another interesting concept, that is the digital thread. So just for the interest of everybody, let me just reiterate the definition. So it is a communication network that enables a connected flow of data as well as an integrated view of an asset's data across its lifetime through various isolated functional perspectives. So in a nutshell, a digital thread allows us to collect and collate all the data from various sources and derive some useful insights from that. It allows us to transmit the data, the correct data, to the correct people at the correct time. So essentially, it is a seamless integration across all the disciplines, so that there is no information leakage, there is no miscommunication, there is no lack of communication. And this is what we call as the single source of truth, as Yuha was talking about in his discussion. And there are some early adopters of this technology, especially the automotive and the automobile and aerospace industries, which have realized the values and which have reaped the benefits also. So there have been cases where these industries have been able to realize the value, such as reduction in their market lead time to the market. Say for example, they have been able to reduce that by as much as 20%. Also, they have been able to cut down the costs of their entire value chain by around 15 to 20%. So these are huge numbers when we actually multiply them with the scales. So we thought, why not extend this concept of digital thread to something called as connected analytics. So it is essentially a digital thread when implemented using data analytics. And so now that we all know that there is enough data in the system, organizations have produced a lot of data over the past few years, say a couple of decades, and also they have developed enough infrastructure to process that data. So can we add some more value to this data? Can we put this data to a better use? Can we go beyond the conventional methods of using this data? Traditionally, the approach has been to use the assets data, monitor it, and derive the KPIs, and then use it for some kind of a root cause analysis. However, these assets are never operating in isolation. They are almost always connected to multiple other assets. And in order to understand how a particular asset is behaving, it is equally important to understand how the other connected assets are behaving. So that is what we mean by connected analytics. You observe the KPIs of not only your asset of interest, but also of all the assets which are connected to that particular asset. So you collect the information, you connect all this siloed information using data analytics, and then you predict the KPIs for all the assets, and you monitor those KPIs in real time, and then you derive the real value, such as you can carry out your fault detection in a much better manner than what you would have done had you just observed the asset in isolation. So let's take the example of a cooling tower for the sake of this discussion. So we have identified this as the subject asset. This is a general workflow for the connected analytics. Then we identify all the interconnected assets. Now a cooling tower is directly connected to the cooling water pump. It is also connected to the heat exchanger. It is also connected to the air compressor. It is also indirectly connected with the CDO column, for example, the fired heater and the related heat exchangers and pumps that the CDU is connected to. So the entire potpourri of the assets needs to be considered. And once we have done that, as the next step, we have to identify the critical KPIs. So these critical KPIs, such as in case of compressor, it may be compressor efficiency or compressor power, then the temperature of the heat exchanger, the temperature of the cooling tower inlet water, then the pump discharge pressure, heat transfer coefficient of the exchanger, the efficiency of the fire heater, which is usually correlated with the oxygen content at the outlet. And once we have identified all these KPIs of the subject asset as well as the connected assets, we monitor those KPIs in real time. And what this allows us to do is it actually helps us identify if there is any anomaly or if there is any abnormality in the data observed, in the KPIs that these individual assets are producing. And that helps us take the corrective actions eventually. So the entire time and effort is reduced, and also the solution is more reliable. So in this case, we have identified all the KPIs of all the connected assets in the case of this cooling tower. So they are heat exchangers, pumps, and of course the KPIs related to the cooling tower. And we have identified only the critical KPIs. Not all KPIs need to be considered in case of connected analytics. Only the critical KPIs are required. And once we do that, as the next step, we observe all these KPIs in real time in a single window. So you can see using this layout, it is much easier for us to identify if there is any abnormality, say for example, in the compressor efficiency, that is compressor performance, whether the heat exchanger is behaving properly, whether the pump is also operating as expected. So this complete picture helps us identify if there is any problem in the system. And this is the executive dashboard. So this is a very common feature, but a very useful feature. You get a complete site view in one window at a time. So what this essentially tells us is that if there is a red color, then the asset is malfunctioning. If there is a green color of the dashboard, then the asset is behaving properly as expected. And this is a very quick way in which you can troubleshoot your assets. You can identify where the problem lies and then target only that asset or that asset specifically on priority, and then that would ease out all your remaining exercise. So this is very useful. This has been implemented over the past few years, but the main focus has only been around the assets, around an individual asset. So when we integrate that, it actually adds a lot of value to the entire exercise. This is again a case of a CDU where a natural instinct would be when a CDU is malfunctioning, there is some problem inside the CDU, but there are so many assets connected to that particular column. Say for example, there are so many heat exchangers, there are so many pumps which are pumping different fluids at different locations. There is an air condenser, there is a reflux drum, a fire heater, even a desalter. So in order to understand how your CDU is behaving, it is not only sufficient to observe the performance of that CDU in isolation, but also to observe the performance of all the remaining assets which the CDU is connected to. So this is what the connected analytics is all about. It's just the extension of the digital thread applied using digital solutions, that is the connected analytics, but it adds a great value to your ecosystem. Now, talking about tridiagonal solutions, we as an organization were established in the year 2006, and we are a byproduct of the National Chemical Laboratory at Pune. We have almost 80% of our business coming from the US and the Europe, and almost all our clients are either Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 companies. We have around 80 plus professionals. Most of these people are either masters or PhDs or even postdocs, and they are our real enablers. We recruit only from the tier 1 institutions all across the globe. So far, we have executed more than 900 projects in practically all the sectors of chemical industry. So we basically serve the three core areas. One is the advanced modeling. The other one is application engineering. We cater to the client's requirement and develop the custom-made applications for our clients. And the third one is the process analytics, the group that we are actively working with. And this group essentially caters to the various sectors of chemical industry, and leverages the advanced solutions such as asset performance management, advanced process control, or even the custom-made solutions around data analytics. So this is, and the dashboards that we had presented were created using Seek. So Seek is first of its kind of a data analytics platform that has a great capability of analyzing the data. You need not be a data scientist. So it's basically a democratizing of your data analytics part. So it has its custom inbuilt features, a lot of features that enable the client to perform the data analytics operations. On top of that, if you want to have your own models, then there is a capability of doing so in what is called as the Seek Data Lab. So it's a great tool to have, and all this data analytics was essentially done using Seek. So we cater to practically all the sectors of chemical engineering, chemical industry, right from the oil and gas up to the paper and pulp, through metal and mining, food and fragrance, specialty chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and life sciences. And our core expertise essentially lies in two sections. One is the process consulting, which has been our traditional business, and also we have, to complement this, we have digitalization solutions such as modeling and simulations, computational fluid dynamics, data analytics, APM, APC, and so on. We have a lab situated at the outskirts of Pune, around 60 kilometers from Pune at Shirwal, where we have a pilot scale setup for the oil and gas experiment, especially around flow assurance, corrosion, erosion, etc. So our foundation lies mainly on the two aspects, that is the process understanding. We do that using mechanistic modeling and simulations. We have a team of experts dedicated for that. We also have another aspect called as the process optimization, which is essentially the performance improvement, and we combine both these aspects in order to achieve the ultimate operational excellence. And this entire thing is completely data driven. We have our entire ecosystem at our disposal. We have partnered with different technology majors, such as the ones that you can see on the screen. So that's it from my side. Over to you, Mavis. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Tushar. There is a question for you. How does the system judge the good data and bad data amongst millions of live data which are coming, collected from SCADA, DCS, etc.?
Yes. So for that, you need some kind of a domain knowledge, because data analytics is just garbage in, garbage out. Unless you filter out the data, unless you remove the noise, you can't get a good result. You will get some model, but that model may be some junk model. So for that, first you need some domain expertise to understand if there are some outliers. And then once you know, say for example, if there are any process constraints with respect to some temperature values, or if the pressure is not allowed to go beyond a certain value, and if the data is producing that, then that data needs to be discarded. And on top of that, you can apply your usual data analytic techniques to come up with a good data set.
Okay, and what do you do? Like you say, you do connected analytics. So you have SCADA systems, individual equipment or assets are anyway connected. You are getting some readings on that.
Yes.
When you want to connect them together, do you have to put some additional sensors or additional data points for capturing additional data points, or how do you do that?
Yes, it all depends on the readiness of that system. If the system is already having enough sensors, or if we can use the existing sensors for deriving some indirect KPIs, then that system is enough. If not, then we have to have some sensors. But most importantly, we need to have a historian in place, because the sensors will generate the data, but to process that data, to collect and store that data, you need a historian. So that is a basic requirement.